Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, is he a gold digger?
I'm allowing her to believe that she's my girlfriend.
Is she a scammer?
My twin sister and I were both born with the name Michelle.
Why did Michelle never mention she had a twin sister?
That's a good question.
Are they playing each other?
He's thinking he's going to cash in on the will of somebody that didn't exist. We looked at this will and it says, I, Michelle S.
Michelle Suzanne.
Well, that's you. Why would she write your name?
Is this the wildest catfish story
She made a mistake.
She thought it was you, Diane?
of them all?
Why did you carry this on for so long?
He wanted a car and a diamond ring. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you
I'm
down.
trying to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Okay, I need you to pay really close attention because today's story is fascinating, but it is complicated with so many twists and turns, you just can't even imagine. Everybody have a seat. You need to sit down for this. Here's how this all began. Suzanne wrote into the show because of problems that she's been having with her younger boyfriend, Ryan, who she claims is a manipulative mooch. Bad deal, right? She says they don't get to see each other much because Suzanne lives in California and Ryan lives in Utah. But when they do get together, Suzanne says he always wants her to pay for everything and buy him gifts. She wrote, I put him up in nice resorts. He's never once paid for anything. Our first date, I spent well over $500 just on food. Big eaters. Sounds like a real jerk, right? Well, when we contacted Ryan, he said he is not Suzanne's boyfriend at all. He says the only reason he even knows Suzanne is through her sister Michelle, whom he had an online friendship with for several years, although they never even met in person. Now, during that time, Michelle was tragically diagnosed with ovarian cancer, and because she and Ryan had become such good friends and she knew he was a single dad, Michelle promised Ryan she would include him in her will. She wanted him to have her Audi and a ring and even a very personal journal of her work as a Mormon missionary. Now, Ryan was heartsick that his friend was ill, but so grateful for her generosity. But then the sad news. Michelle lost her battle with cancer. A few days later, Suzanne makes contact with Ryan, telling him she is Michelle's twin sister and the executor of her estate. Ryan had no idea Michelle even had a twin. But they strike up a friendship. Now, awkwardly for Ryan, Suzanne soon began to want a whole lot more than a friendship. Well, poor Ryan was at a loss. He didn't know what to do because the only thing he was interested in were the gifts promised in Michelle's will. But Suzanne was in charge of the estate. And for some strange reason, she was in no hurry to bequeath him his due. He needed to get along with her. So what a dilemma, right? Okay, here's the deal. This is where things get more than a little tricky. We do a lot of research in preparation for any show, and of course this one was no different. And none of these guests can hear what I'm saying right now, only you guys, and I need for you to know everything that's going on here. Suzanne never had a twin sister named Michelle. And she sure as hell didn't die from ovarian cancer. In fact, Suzanne is not even named Suzanne. Her name is, guess, Michelle, with the middle name Suzanne. And the non-existent twin in question, the other Michelle, never had a will. Well, of course she doesn't. There wasn't a Michelle. Which means she definitely didn't leave Ryan an Audi or a big diamond ring. It's all lies. Now, Ryan has no idea that Michelle never existed, and Suzanne has no idea that we know that there is no twin sister and that we're on to her. She's stringing Ryan along, and he is playing along because he's thinking he's going to cash in on the will of somebody that didn't exist. So basically, we have two people manipulating each other. He's telling her, sure, I'll be your boyfriend. Yeah, we're in love, sure. Give me the money. I just wanted y'all to know what's going on because I've got to figure out, do these people have nothing else to do? So first, we're going to meet Ryan. And as I said, he hasn't heard any of this. He doesn't know that there is no Michelle, that there is no will. We're just going to unfold this. Take a look at what he has to say.
I met Michelle 3 years ago on Facebook. She just seemed like a normal, nice lady. There was a time where she broached the subject, flying my daughters and I out to SeaWorld on her dime, and she said she was going to foot our bill for the room and board as well. So I thought, what a great opportunity, and why not take advantage of a very nice lady doing a very nice favor for me. Last week or two before she was actually going to punch the ticket and get everything rolling, her health took a turn for the worse. Turns out she had terminal ovarian cancer, which was tragic. That's when she decided to leave me part of her estate. She actually was leaving me a car, and she also was going to give me a ring. I was absolutely flattered and very touched. The day after she passed, Michelle's sister, Suzanne, sent me a text message introducing herself, and she asked if I could call her. I never knew Michelle had a sister. It never came up in our 3 years of conversation, let alone a twin sister. My main interest, of course, was helping Suzanne in any way I could to both expedite and probate the will. All of a sudden, I get this text. She told me that she was starting to develop feelings for me, and I was very uncomfortable with that notion. I took a deep breath and thought to myself, what can I possibly say so I don't offend this lady? I said, you are welcome to feel that way. I don't know that I share the same sentiment. And that's when things kind of went belly up. She flipped out on me. I was completely blown away by how abrupt and how abrasive her comments were. Some of the exact verbiage was, well then fine, you're not gonna get anything. You were just using my sister anyway, and you don't deserve anything. Goodbye forever. And that's when I decided I had to play this game with her and be in this pseudo relationship with her in order to keep her happy so I can get my things.
Well, Ryan is so committed to receive what he believes is rightfully his from Michelle's will that he has led her twin sister, Suzanne, on to the point that she has even set a wedding date.
Ryan and I, as of today, have been dating 4.5 months. If you were to talk to him now, he would say, yeah, that's my girlfriend.
I'm allowing her to believe that she's my girlfriend. It's part of that peace of mind that I get keeping her happy.
He would say that he wants to make love to me. He loves me. He misses me.
I do say I love her, but I know there's different variations and different degrees of love. Is it romantic love? No.
He wouldn't say, I'm in love with you. It would always just be, I love you.
She's luckily never asked me to define what kind of love it is. It's never come to that, thank goodness.
We had discussed getting married a year from the day our first date was, which is September 9th, 2017.
She will bring up ideas about the marriage, and I kind of just tongue-in-cheek get, smile and play, yeah, okay, that's fine. That's probably could be a great idea, and I let her go with it.
I've looked at wedding dresses, I've looked at venues, I've looked at banquet halls. I've even done an online wedding registry.
I have no desire to be in a romantic relationship with her, let alone marriage. Absolutely not.
Well, Ryan, good to meet you. You're in a pickle.
Big time.
Because she's got the control.
Yes.
She's got the power because she's the executor, right?
Correct.
And you were in a relationship, an online relationship with Michelle for how long?
3 years.
Mm-hmm. How would you describe her?
Michelle was extremely kind, extremely thoughtful, Very complimentary, just a absolute gem of a woman.
What did you guys have in common? What was it that bonded the two of you together?
We have an LDS faith. We both have daughters. I have 2, she has 1. And we kind of connected on some of those levels, never anything on a romantic level, but we never even physically met.
Why did Michelle never mention she had a twin sister? Was she hiding her for some reason? Were they estranged? What's your theory? And later, why did your parents name you both Michelle?
I actually just changed my name,
What was her middle name?
Jacqueline.
And your middle name?
Is Suzanne.
Because I was confused about this because it says I, Michelle S.
Michelle Suzanne.
Well, that's you. When Michelle passed away, is that when you learned that she had left you? We're talking here like $250,000 worth of, I mean, this was an Audi R8, right?
Correct.
That's like 150 grand or something, and a substantial piece of jewelry.
Correct.
Was that a surprise to you?
Absolutely.
Why do you think she did that?
Well, she felt, well, in what I later found out in her journal that she gave me, that she's, and also in her will, she said, Ryan, whom I love. Love is a very umbrella statement. There's several different degrees of love. She never told me that she loved me, but we had a very strong connection as far as our faith, our missions that we had served, a lot of different things in common.
And you received her journal, right?
Yes.
This is the journal.
Yes.
There's a passage in 2012 that says, I also started talking to a guy named Ryan. He seemed like a nice guy. He was much younger than me. I was afraid to ask him out, knowing I could be rejected. My cancer kept going into remission. Ryan got married, and that broke my heart. I was not about to tell him my feelings now. So that was something that she was maybe deeper into this than you were.
I didn't know she had those feelings for me. She never communicated those.
Were you surprised when you read them in the journal?
Absolutely.
Yeah. She says, my cancer came back stronger than ever. I needed to find Ryan. I needed to tell him my true feelings, but how? When I finally connected with Ryan, I did not know what he would say. Ryan and I began to message each other on Facebook, and I would ask how he is, how his girls are, etc. Ryan told me he was single again. Then 2016, now I knew my life was coming to a close. Ryan and I were chatting often. I told him I loved him. I finally put a stop to all my chemo treatments. I had told Ryan the last thing I wanted was for him to be there when I passed. Ryan meant the world to me. So she didn't want you there during that time.
Correct.
So now you've got a twin sister on
Correct.
On the table here. And these things that Michelle wanted you to have, she's kind of holding those hostage.
Absolutely.
How did you find out that Michelle finally passed away?
There was a tenant that lived in Michelle's home who actually messaged me on a text message, the same phone that Michelle had been using all along. And she informed me of the news, telling me that the coroner was coming to the house to take care of the business. And then a day or two later, that's when I finally heard from Suzanne.
Did they get along or not? Why did Michelle never mention she had a twin sister?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
Was she hiding her for some reason? Were they estranged? What's your theory?
My theory, and that's exactly that, was that they had some form of relationship because when Michelle had passed and I talked with or communicated with Suzanne on any level, there was a lot of fond memories that they had. They basically were each other's best friend during their parents' death and falling out, things of that nature. But up to that point, I didn't know that she had a twin sister.
She kind of moved into Michelle's position plus some. She wanted this to go further.
Correct.
But you've actually played along with that.
I have that too, yes.
So you're letting her believe that you are a boyfriend.
To an extent, yes.
To an extent. I mean, you've sent her some loving text. You've said that she is your girlfriend and that you do love her. December 15th of last year, Suzanne, I think someone needs to convince me why I should relocate. You say, why do I need to convince you to relocate? Suzanne, Well, it would be nice. Ryan, being in the same state as your love and his daughters who love you isn't good enough as your love. Then December 16th, Suzanne, I have treatment this AM, like you care. You say, I do care. It really, really hurts my feelings that you think I disregard your feelings. We'll talk again tomorrow. Sleep well. Suzanne, I'm in bed. You should be next to me, curled up. Ryan, I wish I was. That's pretty snuggly.
Yeah.
Then on the 19th, Suzanne says, so are we going to have a loving relationship? You say, of course we are going to have a loving relationship. Is there any other kind? Suzanne, we both need to stop fighting. I don't want to be fighting in front of your girls or our girls. So you clearly are leading her to believe there is a future with you. When she does transfer these assets, what's your plan?
I plan on remaining perfectly good friends with her.
She mentions treatment there, like you care. She said, I have treatment this AM, like you care.
Yeah.
You say, I do care. Is she sick as well?
Yeah, she's also sick.
What's wrong?
She has ovarian and lung cancer.
She's holding your assets hostage and, by extension, holding you hostage.
Correct.
And you want help getting those assets from her, getting your money from her, getting what Michelle left you.
Absolutely.
You want me to help you do that?
Yes, please.
Well, where there's a will, there's a way, but the only thing standing in the way is Suzanne, Michelle's twin sister, and the executor of Michelle's will. So we're going to hear what Suzanne has to say next. We'll be right back.
My twin sister, Michelle, and I were born 15 minutes apart. We were like peas in a pod. And then she met a boy named Ryan. She was head over heels and madly in love with him. They never met up because Michelle passed away.
And later,
I would love to marry Ryan. I'd love to.
if you believe that he is a manipulator and a mooch, why would you want to marry him? Well, unfortunately, the circumstance of Ryan and Suzanne meeting was not a happy one because tragedy struck when Ryan's online friend and Suzanne's twin sister, Michelle, passed away from ovarian cancer last July. Suzanne says if it wasn't for her beloved sister, she would have never met the love of her life.
My twin sister, Michelle, and I were born 15 minutes apart. We were both born with the name Michelle. My name is Michelle Suzanne. Her name was Michelle Marianne. We were very identical. I would go to her college classes and I'd play a prank on her professor and she would do the same thing with mine. My sister Michelle was married 3 times. She had a very difficult and abusive life. After her last marriage fell apart, we became roommates and tried to get her life back together. We were best friends, we hung out, we would have cat fights. I would disagree with something, she would disagree with something, and then we'd make up and go, oh, why did we do this? We were like peas in a pod. And then we both decided we needed to have our own separate lives. And she got her own house, I got my own house, and then she met a boy named Ryan in Utah. They were on Facebook. She sent him a friend request and they started chatting. They were very solid friends, I think had a very strong online love relationship. Michelle would have jumped through rings of fire to be with Ryan. She was head over heels and madly in love with him. They never met up because Michelle passed away. Michelle had end-stage ovarian cervical cancer and it spread throughout her body. And she just said, no more chemo, I just want to go home. It was more than losing your best friend. It was like losing my heart.
Well, Suzanne says Michelle used to talk fondly about Ryan, so when Suzanne actually met Ryan, she wasn't surprised that there was an immediate attraction, and soon enough, she found herself head over heels for him.
After Michelle passed away, I was checking her Facebook page and we were going to post like a little memorial. I reached my hand out to Ryan and say, I'm offering my condolences. I'm her twin. If there's anything you need, please let me know. Michelle and I talked a lot about Ryan. We used to say, you know, how cute he was, how she'd think he would look really hot in a pair of jeans, and what would he be like romantically somewhere down the line. I started having a little bit of feelings. He is drop dead gorgeous. There is an adorable picture Michelle had, and he is just a dream and great eyes. I wanted to meet the man that my sister was in love with. I wanted to see what he was like. I was very nervous to go meet him. My heart was pounding. As I get closer, I'm thinking, is he a stalker, or is he the hopeless romantic Prince Charming that I'm looking for? When I got there, I let him know what room I was in. I opened up the door, and he gave me a hug, and he said, "It's so good to see you." We went to a wonderful steakhouse, and we sat and we laughed and we had a great conversation. When we got back in the hotel room, we were just like high school sweethearts. He goes, "I know you're tired, let me give you a nice massage." He goes, "That will help you sleep for the night." There was no sexual touching. I felt the sparks go through my body, you know, and I'm like, wow, this guy can really work me over. And I thought, there's a connection between him and I.
Okay, it's good to meet you.
It's a pleasure.
And I'm very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Obviously. How long has it been since the two of you have seen each other in person?
Almost a month.
Uh-huh. And what were you doing?
We went and saw a movie. Actually saw 2 movies. We went to dinner.
Uh-huh.
So
And
had to spend some time with the girls.
yeah. And who paid for all of that?
I did.
Yeah. Why? Why do you pay for everything?
Good question. Really good question.
Thank you.
I wish he would, but he just doesn't.
Yeah. Why does she pay for everything?
She offers to. I say I would love to, but she says, nope, I got this.
Why do you always offer?
I don't offer. I know he doesn't have the money.
So you say that Michelle talked a lot about him.
Very much.
Were he did not know until he read in her journal after the fact that she in fact was in love with him. Did you know it?
I kind of knew it, but I didn't think it was that strong because they never met in person.
Yeah. When you read it, were you surprised?
I was very surprised.
Uh-huh. Does it creep you out at all to be in love with your sister's love? Does that seem?
It does, yes. But, you know, as you can see, Ryan's very attractive. And, you know.
What do you think, Dr. Phil?
Yeah. He's a handsome guy.
He is. He's very handsome.
Right.
He has adorable eyes.
Yeah. Well, I'll stick with handsome, but.
Ryan was there with me for my knee surgery.
Was that from an accident?
Yes.
You're suing for $10 million?
Yes.
Wow. You say he wants some of that settlement?
I believe he does.
And later, why did she never mention the twin sister?
She probably thought I would have gone for Ryan.
She didn't trust you. Were you untrustworthy?
Ryan's very attractive. I think I would have stole him away from her.
Closed captioning provided by. Why do you think your sister never took the initiative to meet him?
Well, she was sick.
Had she been married before?
She was with somebody before, yes.
Okay, but you've never been married?
Correct.
Okay. Did she have a daughter?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's also another child, but he's an adult.
He's an adult now?
Yes.
Okay. And, but you've never been married and you don't have any children?
No.
Are you interested in getting married?
I would love to marry Ryan. Would love to.
Right. What is your reaction? You saw your twin sister have a tragic and early death from ovarian cancer, and you now have ovarian cancer.
I just had surgery, and I feel that they've got all of it. And, you know, I think it's up to my will and up to a higher power's will. You know, if I fight, I believe I can make it through.
And you also had a knee surgery, right?
Yes, Ryan was there with me for my knee surgery.
And was that from an accident?
Yes, I fell.
Okay. And you have a lawsuit about that?
Yes.
And you say you're suing for $10 million?
Yes.
Wow. You say he wants some of that settlement?
I believe he does.
Is that true?
No.
Well, but you said you're willing to share some of that with
I'm
him.
willing to share some, because I love Ryan, and he's got some gorgeous daughters, and I believe that the girls really deserve to be raised upright and treated properly.
When was it that your sister passed?
End of July.
And tell me what your grief process has been since then.
I cry. I cry a lot. I get angry. I get angry at Ryan. It's hurtful, very hurtful.
And when you were you with her at the very end?
Yes.
Do you recall the last thing she said to you?
The very last thing she said to me was make sure Ryan's taken care of and treat him right.
So her last thoughts were of him. And what was the last thing you said to her?
I said, I will not hurt him.
And had you seen the will
Yes, I have.
ahead of time before she passed?
Yes.
You knew that he was in the will.
Yes, I did.
And you knew that her wish was for him to have the assets that were mentioned in the will.
Yes.
Why haven't you given them to him?
Because there are things that him and I, there's things that I'm very cautious about. His actions, as well as,
But they weren't your assets, and it wasn't your intention. They were her assets, and it was her intention.
No, I understand that. But if Ryan and I are in a relationship right now, I'm very cautious about giving my sister's assets to him what he's doing.
But that wasn't your call. That was her call. She said, I want him to have these things.
Right, but I don't think she saw Ryan's hand agreed.
His hand agreed.
His hand agreed.
Well, that's an unusual phrase, hand of greed. What does that mean?
It means, honey, can you buy me this? Honey, can you buy me that? A real man, I think, would step up and say, let me buy this, or let me take care of this.
Well, are dollar signs really the only thing Ryan sees when he looks at Suzanne, like she suspects? We're going to find out when we come back.
I have probably asked for the items in the will 30, 40 times.
Ryan sees dollar signs in his head. He's not what Michelle thought, and it's disturbing me.
Closed captioning provided by...
Ryan manipulates me. He mooches off of me. He asks for things all the time. Since I've met him 5 months ago, I have given him meals, laptops, money, headphones. I think he's just being nice so he can have the car and the ring and whatever else he wants.
I have probably asked for the items in the will 30, 40 times.
He's broke. He can't afford to put gas in it. He can't afford insurance. He can't afford maintenance on the car.
Suzanne has left me with a ton of broken and empty promises.
He tells me he misses me. He tells me he loves me, but all along, I'm supporting him. Ryan sees dollar signs in his head. He's not what Michelle thought, and it's disturbing me.
Well, if you believe that, if you think that he is a manipulator and that he's a mooch, you said you would absolutely want to marry him. If that's what you think of him, why would you want to marry him?
Because honestly, I believe in forgiveness.
I mean, if somebody's running over my foot, I can forgive them, but I'd kind of need him to stop running over my foot. It's like you say he continues to ask you to pick up the tab and pay for stuff and all of that, if that's the case, it's hard to forgive somebody again every day. I mean, you need him to change some things, right?
Yes, I do. I really do. And I'm hoping he will change.
But he is definitely, you guys are girlfriend, boyfriend.
Yes, we are.
And he said that to you. I mean, I read the text.
Apparently she's unsure.
Why did your sister never tell him about you?
We don't get into personal things like that.
Listen, I know a lot about twins. I'm married to a twin. My son is married to a triplet. My dad had triplets in his family. Mm-hmm. I mean, when my son had children, we thought he was going to have a litter because we had so many twins and triplets in our family. So I've been around twins and triplets in our family my entire life. There's that twin speak. There's that connection. There's that.
Right.
Why did she never not even mention that she had not only a sister, but a twin sister?
She probably thought I would have gone for Ryan.
She didn't trust you.
At the time, no.
She thought you might have made a play for him.
Correct.
Were you untrustworthy?
No, I wasn't. I was trustworthy, but Ryan is very attractive. I think I would have stole him away from her back then.
So you weren't trustworthy.
Okay, I wasn't trustworthy.
So she was right to not tell him about you.
Yes.
Why did your parents name you both Michelle?
In the Hebrew language, it means godly woman, but she had a middle name that was different, and I had a middle name that was different. And then when we both hit adults, I actually just changed my name.
Well, you haven't changed it yet, but you're in the process of changing
Correct.
it. I don't think I've ever met anybody that named both of their kids like, here's my daughter Michelle and my other daughter Michelle.
One of my grandparents wanted one of the girls' name to be named Michelle, and my father wanted a girl named Michelle.
And what was her middle name?
Her middle name was Jacqueline.
Okay. And your middle name?
Is Suzanne.
Because I was confused about this. We looked at the last will and testament, and it says on April 5th of 2016, it says, I, Michelle S.
It means Michelle Suzanne.
Well, that's you.
Correct, but I didn't write it. I know.
But you
sister,
didn't die.
No, but remember, my sister was also under a lot of medication, too. She made a mistake.
But then you sent a text to our producer, and you said, no, she was born Michelle Jacqueline, and I was born Michelle Suzanne.
Right.
But then on tape, you said we were both born with the name Michelle because of my grandparents, which you just explained.
Correct.
And so my name is Michelle Suzanne. Her name was Michelle Marianne.
It should have been Michelle Jacqueline. I made the mistake the other day. I've been under a lot of stress.
Who typed up the will?
She typed it up,
Right.
but she was under so much morphine and everything.
She thought it was you dying?
And we both looked identical. Even Ryan had a double take.
So who typed up the will?
She typed,
A lawyer? Or?
No, she typed it up,
Right.
but she was under so much morphine and everything.
She thought it was you dying?
No.
Why would she write your name?
Her and I both, at the time, we both looked identical. Even Ryan, when I met Ryan, he had a double take, didn't you?
That was long ago.
Okay.
What?
Every picture I ever had of Michelle was very fuzzy, so I never saw an accurate picture.
Okay. It's interesting that you mentioned pictures because we have been all over Facebook. We've been all over social media. We've gotten stuff from you. We've never seen a picture of you with your sister.
Her and I was actually the black sheep of the family.
So they never.
I wasn't the welcome child, but her and I never.
Who is this?
That is Michelle.
That's Michelle.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
That
Who's
is-
this?
That is her.
That's her. Okay. Who's this?
That is her.
Who's that?
That is her.
We asked for a family photo, and
I could not find our family photos in time.
well, we got this one. Who's that?
That is her with our brother. That is her. That's Michelle's husband, and the half sister, and one of the children, and our brother's wife.
And why are you not in that picture?
Because I wasn't welcomed.
What'd you do? What'd you do that made them mad?
Got upset with the family.
You got upset with the family?
Yes.
Michelle Jacqueline has a daughter,
Yes.
and she's 16.
Yes.
And she texted you
Correct.
asking some questions about what was going to happen and how you were going to treat her aunt, right?
Correct.
November of last year said, "Dear Ryan, how are you? I miss chatting with you. As you have heard, I am knocked up. I have a question for you. Are you and my aunt ever going to let me come visit or even live with you? Or am I just going to be a bastard child? When do I get to talk to my aunt? She says you have made her happy. How are your girls?" Then December 8th, she says, "So now that I have a upset and heartbroken aunt, I would like some answers. What did you do to her? She drove all the way to Vegas to see me, take me shopping for a few hours, and it was not pleasant. All she did was cry and tell me you were chatting with single girls. I thought you loved her. I wanted us to all be a family. I even wanted you and her to adopt my babies." Does she have more than one baby?
She did.
She did.
She did.
Does she now?
She only has one. We lost it because it was just too preemie and it just was not healthy.
It passed away?
Correct.
Was it stillborn or?
No, it was not stillborn. It was only 2.5 pounds.
Okay. All right. The root of Suzanne and Ryan's dysfunctional relationship is Michelle's will. So what exactly does it say, and what's happened to these assets? We're going to take a close look at that when we get back and see why he thinks he's entitled to some things that Suzanne does not think he's entitled to. We'll be right back. Closed captioning provided by... Well, we have a lot more to talk about with Suzanne and Ryan. I took a good long look at this will. You won't believe what we uncovered. You do not want to miss tomorrow's show. We'll see you tomorrow.